Kia ora team, welcome back to Hack Magic. So in the early part of this year, I set myself a goal of making one video a week, every week. And recently we passed what is essentially the 6th month milestone. It's been absolute chaos trying to manage the rest of my life and get a video done every week, but I've loved every minute of it. Thank you for sticking around, I hope you're enjoying them, and there is more to come. So at this time it seemed like a really good opportunity to take a breather, take a step back for a moment, and do something a little different. This week I'm going to be filling you in on 10 facts that you may not know about me. Fact number 1. Before I did magic, I actually played a lot of music. I mostly played guitar, but I also sang, played some bass as well. I fronted and composed for a band which made its way to RockQuest regional finals. I composed a piece of music which got a national placing for a Shakespeare competition. And I very nearly went to jazz school. But at the end of high school, I found this huge passion in magic, and my life course kind of changed. I don't get to play as much as I used to, but I love listening to music. I'm always finding new stuff, and yeah, it's still a huge part of my life. Number 2, I'm a total nostalgia junkie. I do have a fairly large retro gaming collection, which I am very proud of. It's not super massive, but it has all the games that I really loved from some important years in my life. Like at least half of the shirts that I wear are some kind of subtle gaming reference. If you get this one, let me know down in the comments below. Maybe we'll take the opportunity to check those out someday. Fact 3, Hack Magic was not the original name for this YouTube channel. I started this YouTube channel on the 21st of December 2012. For those of you who remember, that was when the end of the world was supposed to happen. It was the end of the Mayan calendar. And it was a moment where I thought to myself, if I'm gonna do something, why not start on that day? It's a bit kind of melodramatic, I know, but it was a different stage of my life and it seemed like a good idea. At the time, I was really into Alice in Wonderland, probably sparked by Alice Madness Returns, the sequel to American McGee's Alice. Another video game reference, by the way. So after I played the game, I actually read the 2 books, because there's 2. There's Alice in Wonderland, and there's Alice's Adventures Through the Looking Glass, I think. And in that book, Alice steps through what is essentially a mirror, and ends up in a completely different world, one where the regular rules of reality do not apply. I thought there were some really interesting ideas there that you could use in magic. And so originally, Hack Magic was called Our Looking Glass World. Eventually I kind of grew and my tastes changed and I developed something different, which was Hack Magic. I'll tell you what that means in another video. Fact 4. I used to be a competitive sprinter. The 200-meter sprint was my specialty, but it's a terrible race to run. I actually started out doing high jump and my coach said to me, hey, you should do some sprints to get warmed up. And so I rocked up, and over the course of a couple of weeks it turned out I was better at sprints than I was at high jump. My height and stride length always meant that I was better at the 200-meter sprint than I was at the 100. I was slow to start off the blocks, but I would build up to a pretty good pace. So what that meant was that my 200-meter time was usually pretty much twice my 100-meter time. The reason why the 200-meter sprint sucks so much is that over 100 meters, you can sprint that and feel okay. The 200-meter sprint, you have to run just as hard, but do it for twice as long. Doing that at 8 o'clock in the morning always made me want to spew. While I found it fun, it wasn't something that was a huge passion of mine. I remember being at the national competition and this hotshot coach from Auckland was telling me about how if I cut off my hair, I would shave half a second off my time. And then I went back to my motel unit, ate KFC, and drank Coke before running a race later on. But that takes us on to fact number 5. I used to have really long hair. A bunch of you might have seen this video already, I'll chuck it up here, but it was pretty epically long. It was a hell of a lot of fun, but it was also one hell of a pain in the ass. Like, I would have to have a shower every morning and wet it and put stuff in it just so it was manageable. Sometimes I really miss having long hair. It was so cool when you were up on stage playing music. But the sad fact of the matter is that if I wanted to grow it back now, I'd be like 33 by the time it was the same length it was. And I just feel like as a 33-year-old man, I shouldn't have the hair of a 17-year-old. Fact number 6. I can't touch my toes without bending my knees. Never could, probably never will. Fact 7. Believe it or not, I'm actually a pretty introverted kind of guy. I was a total loner for most of my primary school years, and most of the time I would rather have a quiet night in and play some of those video games than go out to some raging party. Don't get me wrong, I love to perform, and I think being well versed in social interaction is a really, really important skill. But it's just that I recharge my batteries from quiet time spent alone as opposed to going out with people and socializing. Fact 8. I was actually born in Australia. Now, I'm definitely a New Zealander. It says so on my birth certificate. I am registered as an Australian-born New Zealander. And the reason why is that both of my parents are New Zealanders. It just so happened that when I was born, my parents were living in Australia. So I'm not Australian, but yeah, that's a thing. Unfortunately, I don't have any kind of residency or citizenship, but I wouldn't want it anyway because snakes and spiders. Fact 9. Raw apples make me gag. Cooked apples, apple juice, apple flavored stuff, all totally fine. But if I try to eat a raw apple, it's like, and I think that my kindergarten teacher is to blame. At my kindergarten, you had to eat a piece of fruit before you were allowed to go and play. And I didn't really like fruit. I still don't really like fruit. And I just remember sitting there with this like slither of apple staring menacingly at my face and thinking it tasted like crap. Yeah, so that hatred of apples has stuck with me to this day. Screw kindergarten. In fact 10. I am what you call straight edge. That's a term I haven't used in a really long time, but it's the appropriate one. Hey Google, what does it mean to be straight edge?
On the website study.com, they say, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. In general, it's centered around abstinence as a means of rebellion.
That's pretty much it. So I remember when I was a teenager and my friends started dabbling and drinking and all that kind of stuff. They were always putting the pressure on for me to give it a go. And I guess in the early days, I just wasn't really into it. I was kind of freaked out by the whole thing. I just wasn't in that headspace. But as time went on, I had no interest. I've always thought that it's really important to be the best you can be. I eventually figured that when you're sober, when you're in your normal state of mind, you are the best you're ever gonna be. You're the smartest you'll ever be, you're the strongest you'll ever be, you're the quickest you'll ever be, you're the most responsive you'll ever be. And I saw anything that took that away from me as something I didn't need in my life. Now that doesn't mean I have anything against alcohol or anybody else's life choices. Who is anybody to judge? But all that stuff is just not for me, it's never been for me, and yeah, I just don't see the point. So there you have it, that is 10 things that you probably didn't know about me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe for more. If any of these facts surprised you in particular, let me know down below. Which one did you find the most surprising? Other than that, I will see you around for the next one. Until then, keep good.